Hello and welcome to Window, your favorite podcast on agriculture, development, business, and investment. I am Arrey Ivo from the African Center for Community and Development. In today's program, we shall be looking at indicators that Africa is an attractive platform for investment. Indicators that show that Africa is an attractive platform for investment. There are many such indicators that justify that Africa is an attractive place to invest. And they include the actions of many important stakeholders in Africa and from across the globe. Recently, a group of Danish fund investors committed $550 million to African infrastructural development. The fund was launched by Maersk. They include three other important stakeholders: Pension Denmark, PKA, and Leganes Pension, with a target of reaching $1 billion in 12 months. External financing for infrastructure in sub-Saharan Africa also tripled between 2004 and 2012. And official development finance increased from the World Bank Group, the African Development Bank. Also, private investment surged to over 50% of external financing in Africa. This is supported by domestic spending, mostly from government on infrastructure, which is the highest in terms of financing and expenditure from the public sectors in Africa. According to the IMF, it reached 59.4 billion, which is about 72.9% of total African infrastructural financing in 2012. Infrastructural investments grew by 8% from 2011 and 2013, and in the energy area by 5% over the same period. And this financing amounted to 41% allocation to the transport sector and 37% budgetary allocation to the energy sector between 2011 and 2013. Trade between China and Africa is also on the increase. It has reached 19% each year and totaled 85.3 billion in value in 2017. So what is causing these sudden dynamics in Africa? There are a couple of factors that are very interesting. They also are very strong indicators in terms of the global economy if we look at them critically. Firstly, there is a fall in commodity prices. Most African economies are based on the exportation of commodities, including minerals. But then there has been a fall in terms of oil prices that we know, the price of gas and other minerals. That has strong implications to all exporters across Africa. This has led to strategies being developed within African governments to diversify their economies and to prevent the impact of a fall in commodity prices on their citizens. And this has been very, very effective in that African governments seem to be diversifying into non-oil sectors like agriculture and infrastructural development hinted above. Another factor is that there has been political reforms in Africa. Africa now has about 20 countries that are called democracies. And a country like Egypt, despite the ramifications of unrest from 2011, is also now facing some growth after it successfully implemented some austerity measures. For a big economy like that, it also hints that there is some positive news coming from the African Maghreb, despite the instability in Libya. So political reforms and austerity has helped. The fall in global aggregate demand is also pushing European and American investors into the African continent, whereas Pan-African investors have also identified, based on their better situational intelligence on the continent, that Africa is indeed a lucrative area for investment in the global economy. You have companies like the Dangote Group investing in areas like tomato transformation, and recently they just are about to launch a sugar production factory or unit in the Nasarawa state in Nigeria, where it is earmarked that they will probably employ up to 30,000 or more Africans within the project life cycle. So it is clear that there's a very positive dynamics going across Africa. The dynamics is that Africa offers not only a lucrative, enabling environment, it offers the labor force, which is cheap and affordable, and it also has a population that is growing and a middle class that is growing, that offers the necessary impetus for industries and service providers to look at the continent as a positive platform for investment. Therefore, we have been looking at the implications of investments in Africa in the area of infrastructural development, which is going to cut transaction costs in Africa. It's also going to facilitate increase in GDP, and increase in GDP can also affect other segments of the society, in that government becomes more capable of borrowing, and if it now uses judiciously the money it borrows and facilitates the sprouting of businesses, GDP per capita is also going to increase in Africa, and therefore we see Africa in this light as a lucrative ground for investments. We therefore touched the new investment fund launched by MEX Group, which now has $550 million, and that was committed to African infrastructure, and that targets about $1 billion in the coming 12 months. We have also touched external financing for infrastructure in sub-Saharan Africa, which tripled between 2004 and 2012, and private investment, which surged by 50% and was a major contribution from external providers. And we also touched the issue of domestic spending in infrastructure, which reached about 59.4 billion, or 72.9% of total African infrastructural financing, according to the IMF in 2012. And we also touched the fact that infrastructure investments grew by 8% from 2011 to 2013, and energy by 5% over the same period. And energy, you know, is very important, as Africa has 600 million people cut off from electricity. Therefore, Africa is showing all the indications that it is moving towards the right ground, and it is an attractive platform for investment. Thank you very much for tuning in onto Window. It has been Arrey Mbongaya from the African Center for Community and Development.